Hi everybody, welcome back to A Parent's Manual. So today I want to talk about homework. I've been seeing tons and tons of people posting how difficult this is becoming already, a couple weeks or a month in of the new school year, and already the drama continues for a lot of our kids. So when you are talking to your child's teacher or the team, you need to let them know just how difficult this is for you at home. Now, my experience a couple of years ago was I had to go in and hold a meeting, and I just talked to everybody there. And it wasn't the IEP meeting, it was just like, I need to talk to everybody because I just felt like my son was already unraveling and we just started. And I didn't understand why they didn't see that, if he was getting 2 out of 20 on his spelling words and not able to put the correct spelling word into a sentence, that there was a problem. And sometimes I think that it's easy to forget what our kids' deficits are when they appear to be so typical. So I go in and I talk to the team and I said, listen, we have so much stress already in our lives. My child is so overwhelmed, and just the aggression and the behavior and the fighting and the screaming and the everything, because he has this homework to do that he just doesn't understand. It's too much. I think everybody would agree that the first and foremost important thing for your kid to be feeling is confident and okay with going to school. And if you're constantly bombarded with what they need to do and they're not able to cope with that, we have to step back a little bit. And that is totally okay for you to go and approach your child's teacher or the team about this. And ultimately, the decision is yours. You have every right to speak up for your child and let them know that this is not working. And right now, we need to take a few steps back. So, for example, if my child had the 20 spelling words and he was not able to spell like 15 or 17 out of 20 and put them in sentences, then that's a problem. So we need to make them feel more successful. So maybe you need to start with five spelling words and 5 words of putting them into sentences and build from there. So I was very happy that they were open to this suggestion and we worked on that. And the next thing you know, like, my child didn't want to be any different. And he's like, no, I want to do all 20 of them. Of course, the spelling, putting them in the sentences was a little bit more difficult for him. But at least he knew that this was something that he had the option to do. So again, with my own son, he can't read novels. Even Diary of a Wimpy Kid novels are a little bit too much. What he describes to me is that when he looks at the words on the page, there's just so much that they actually move, that he can't really focus and concentrate on trying to read this. It was just too much. So showing them by bits and pieces, covering up paragraph to paragraph so they don't have to look at this whole page. There's lots and lots of different ways that we can help them at least get through this. So my son has not had homework in a couple of years. And the reason for that is we have found ways within the school hours to get this done. And so he knows that if he doesn't try, that he might have to bring something home once in a while for us to finish together. And that's okay. But in those 2 years, that hasn't happened. So it's really worked for us. And another thing, if your child has an IEP, then there's goals and objectives that need to be made and need to be met. And you as the parent are the strongest advocate for your child within that IEP meeting. So please don't be afraid to walk in there and say, this is what works best for my child, and here's why, or here's how. And that's really important because parents feel that they're intimidated or they're overwhelmed with their IEPs. You're the one signing off. You're the one that is signing this legal document that says you agree to this. So if you don't agree to it, then you say, I don't agree, and this is why. And you don't sign anything until you feel that, yeah, you know what, I think that's going to work out for them. That's really important between the homework and between the goals in the IEP. So talk to them from the heart. Let them know that it's not because you don't want to try. It's not because you don't think that your kid needs to do homework. This is a real issue, and here's why. I think that being able to speak up for yourself and speak up for your child is going to be so paramount in your child's school years to come. As we know that they have so many of these deficits that it's not visual, they can't see it. So sometimes they think that, well, he's fine, or she can do this because she just appears to be so typical. But that's not the case, and we all know that. And it's okay to say that to your child's teacher or your child's team. It's very important to meet the child where they are and then try to advance from there. It's worked out really well for my child, and I know that it can work out for your child as well. So in Canada, we have French that the kids have to take in the elementary and middle school levels. So one of the things that I have done is I exempted my child from French. I had no idea that you could do that. But again, just talking with the team and just being an open book with them, I'm like, well, you know, he already has enough problems trying to, figure out like English and what certain words mean and that kind of stuff. So he doesn't need to learn French. There's no point. So I've used that time where he can go and finish up his work, or he can go to the resource teacher to help him with the work that he doesn't understand. And this has worked out really well for us. So there are ways to do it. You just need to voice your concerns. You need to realize that you are in charge. You are in charge. So I think if you're going in there at a very reasonable request and finding out how much work your child's expected to do with whatever deficit that they have going on, if this 20 spelling words is just far too much for your child, it needs to be cut back, and then we will work forward from there. If your child is not able to do novel studies, ask the teacher, well, what else can he do? For example, my son, instead of doing the novel study, he did it from a comic book of, answering the same questions and doing the same critical thinking that they were requiring. So if your child has a really hard time writing everything down, talk to them and write it for them. I do that all the time for the kids that I work with in the school. So if the time comes where my child would need me to do that, I would be doing that for him as well. So there's lots of ways that you can make this work. So if you have any questions or concerns about going into an IEP meeting or going in and talking about your child's homework struggles, write me and I'll talk about it with you, and we can come up with these strategies together, because I know that every single child is different, every school is different, but the thing that's not different is the control that you have of how you can help your son within the school system. You are the parent, you are the one that signs off, and you have every right to figure out together how to make this successful for your child. So I hope that helps. And like I said, send me a message below, or if you're brand new here, subscribe, and we're going to go over all of these things together throughout the school year. And if you have anything else that you are wondering about, or you need some information or support about, let me know and we will do a video about that. So I hope that everybody is able to take away some strength out of this, because when it comes down to it, it's all up to you of how this is going to work out for your child. So as overwhelming and as intimidating as it can be, you are the one that has the final say. So let's talk about this again. And like I said, if you have any other kinds of concerns, send me an email and we will go over it. And remember, you're doing a great job and you have a great kid. So I will talk to you guys next time.